week here, it is our community series, the LMP Masters, heading up for its penultimate round here in Fuji Speedway. This is going to be a very interesting round because this is the last round of the series where the car allocation will come into effect. So these drivers will be running the last cars that they have available. But another thing to kind of note is that there is just one more round after this, and in that round it'll be a one-make series with the Toyota TSO20, I believe. So it's either the TSO20, yeah, I think it is the TSO20. So once again, this will be the final round before we go ahead and jump over to the season finale. But that is 2 weeks from now, and now we are here ready to go in Fuji Speedway, and this is going to be a fun track. You can get a massive slipstream down into turn 1, and honestly, I'm expecting just that to happen here. I'm expecting a lot of good overtakes, a lot of good passes, and overall some fine racing here in Fuji. Once again, we are back here for the penultimate round of the season, and honestly, I think we're going to see some fireworks here today. Nuko pretty much all but has the championship wrapped up here, so he can pretty much just not even show up for the season finale in Suzuka, and he will still claim the championship here today. But we will just have to see how everything is going to go. Anything can happen here in racing. It could be a stinker of a race for Nuko, although granted, in this season so far, he has won 4 out of the 5 rounds we've had here so far. His only loss was at Le Mans, and Comer was the one who handed him that one. But pretty much every other race has been Nuko's. If he wins here, then he is pretty much guaranteed to be champion. So we'll just have to see how it's going to play out. We do have 8 drivers currently in the session. We have Nuko, Yuki, ASJ, your local tall man, Rogue, May JP, Chemisher, and Exolution. So we have 8 drivers here today ready to take on Fuji Speedway. And I mean, it's crazy to think that we're already kind of in the penultimate round of this season. It's been a pretty fun season. It's been pretty much largely dominated by the driver on your screen at the moment, but overall, we have seen some good battles, some good racing, and honestly, there's only more to come. Because we have this race here, and then we have Suzuka, which these tracks, despite the fact they're in the same country, these 2 tracks really could not be any different. I mean, you got this track, which has some tight corners, but ultimately is pretty much a flat-out experience. But other than that, I mean, Suzuka is far narrower, far more tricky to get overtakes done, and it is pretty much a driver's track. It also doesn't have the same beautiful scenic shots like we just saw there from the back of Nuko's car, where we just got a beautiful glimpse at that Fuji mountain. And honestly, once again, just a little bit of practice going on here, and then it'll be qualifying soon enough. Just going to go ahead and let Lucian know we're all good. So yeah, we're about to go ahead and go for qualifying here. Now, some driver news has been kind of revealed lately, and actually, as we talk about the man in chat, May JP is confirmed to be running with the High Caliber Racing Team for Super Formula Season 7. So that is a confirmed driver that will be on the grid. Whether he'll be in SWT or WEC, we'll have to see, but pretty much as long as he qualifies, he does have a spot with that team. So once again, we're going to go ahead and we'll see how he does. And honestly, I'm really happy for May JP. It's always good to see new drivers and some other drivers that will go ahead and join the grid next season with a there's rumors that your local tall man is going to go ahead and jump into the Super Formula season alongside ASJ. The 2 are rumored to be teammates for a LFO squad coming up. So there's also a lot of rumors that there is a another esports team supporting them kind of behind the scenes, but from what my sources have told me, these two are looking at a LFO team, which stands for Looking for Org. So they'll be racing together as a team coming next season. So we'll just see how these drivers go ahead and do it. I was actually talking with ASJ a little bit beforehand, before today's race, and he said that this is a track that is going to be really tricky. That chicane there right in the end of sector, or right at the beginning of sector 3 is going to be a tricky one for him. And honestly, I agree. It is going to be a tricky chicane for these drivers to go and navigate. We'll see what cars everybody is going to be running with for the final round with the car allocation. We have Nuco running the Porsche, and then we have ASJ in the Audi, May JP also running the Audi, Kamager running the Toyota in Japan. I mean, couldn't ask for a better fit. He'll be running Toyotas for the next 2 races, because the final race in Suzuka is a one-make where everybody will be in a Toyota. And then your locals Hallman is running that Samsung Porsche. And then we have Rogue in the Porsche as well, Yuki in the Audi, and Lucian in the Porsche. So the drivers are just getting a few extra practice laps in, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into qualifying here. It'll be about 15 minutes of qualifying, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into the race itself. It is a 60-minute timed race, so there's no set lap count. It is expected to be pretty much sunny the entire race. No rain is expected here, which could really throw a wrench into the works, because I mean, we haven't really seen rain this season so far in this series. Actually, I can't even remember the last time a GPL race had rain. And I know it's kind of limited on what tracks can and can't get rain, which maybe there'll be more added with the Spec 3 updates coming in December. So just some other announcements that I'll be making here as these drivers go ahead and continue on in their in their practice session is the Super Formula season will, and I think I might have said this last week, but I will reiterate, the Super Formula series will be delayed until December. It'll be delayed until after the release of the Spec 3 update, and probably a week or 2 after the Spec 3 update. And then with the season itself expected to be starting in January of 2026. So you will have to wait a little bit, but we'll still be bringing you guys racing action week in and week out. As right after, there is a week break as per usual, and then we're going to go ahead and jump into our season finale here at Suzuka. And I'm just going to get back out to go and check that message. Oh, I have been given steward privileges, which, oh boy. Alright, we'll go with it. And hello, Lucian. Welcome to the chat. Good luck in today's race, mate. We'll see how everything goes. And I am the steward for today, which is, with great power comes great responsibility and probably a red flag or 2. We'll see. Turn 1 on this track is a very, very tight corner. ASJ wishing me good luck for stewarding. Just make it easy on me, please. I beg. So pretty much what this means is I'm going to slam every single driver without penalties. I'm kidding. I will not be doing that. I don't even have that kind of power. So basically, what it means with me as a steward is I'm going to go ahead and call a red flag if there's carnage in lap 1, turn 1. So that is pretty much that's pretty much my responsibility here, aside from commentating. So now let's go. While the drivers are going to go ahead and get this outlap going, let's go and talk a bit about, let's just go ahead and talk a little bit about this track. So it is Fuji Speedway, a circuit that's been around for quite some time. It has hosted a handful, or I think actually, correction, a singular Formula 1 race. It hosted the Oceanic Grand Prix. And since then, it's been a mainstay on the World Endurance Championship and Super Formula calendars. So it's a really fun track. It is 4.5 kilometers around, 16 corners. It's got a massive straight. And honestly, it's one of my favorite tracks based out of Japan. And I will always, and this is, I know this is registered as a hot take, but I will always take Fuji Speedway over Suzuka. And honestly, if Formula One switched from Suzuka to Fuji, it would not hurt my feelings any. So, some interesting corner names here as well. So, a lot of these drivers are going to be on their outlap, so we'll go ahead and talk about them. So, right now the corner is... Now we have Nuko going through nets, and soon about to go through... Actually, he's going through nets now, which is turns 14 and 15. He's about to go through the final corner on the track, known as the Panasonic corner. And he's going to go ahead and turn up the afterburners and go ahead and get started with the flying lap. We'll go ahead and run aboard with the champion as he goes ahead and makes his way through the track now. So this will be a good introduction to the track as well for those of you who may have not seen it. So he's going down into turn 1, the very sharp hairpin. You'll probably see some really risky dive bombs going into that corner. So he's going to go ahead and make his way through turn 2 as well. And now he's going to the Coca-Cola corner, which is turn 3 right here, which leads directly into this massive sweeping right-hander known as 100R, similar to Suzuka's 130R, but much wider. And then we have a hairpin here through turn 6 and 7. And then now he's going to make his way to turn 8, and now the massive sweeping right-hander known as 300R. And now we're going into the part that I was talking with ASJ about earlier, the Dunlop chicane. Going through turns 10 through 12. And now he's going through turn number 13, and now he's going to make his way to nets. Turns 14 and 15. Very smooth on the throttle there. Smooth throttle delivery! Not so much. Just a bit of a spin there for championship leader Nuko. And he is going to go ahead and spin out. And that is going to put an end to that lap at least. Continuing the onboard with May JP. He's going to go ahead and come across the line after exiting Panasonic corner. Now, you do have a massive run from here all the way to the start line. He'll set the first qualifying session of the time. It is a 1:27 to kick things off with ASJ jumping up the order as well. ASJ, he had a really good race last time in Watkins Glen. He went from 4th all the way, he went from 9th to 4th. He missed qualifying due to a hardware issue, and then jumped up, still about a second off of Illusion's time though, but he's already improving by 0.3 of a second, so he's going to be a driver to watch here today. I mean, honestly, let's face it, this is GPL. Every driver is going to be a driver worth watching today. Another driver who's likely to join the Super Formula fold at some point, it is Rogue. So we'll see. It hasn't really been confirmed where Rogue is going to go, but there's been some rumors linking him to the second EXO Rapide seat in case B23 either doesn't participate or he moves up to WEC. Once again, these are all just rumors, so nothing is really confirmed. The only thing that I can confirm in terms of next season's placements is May JP. As I can also semi-confirm Tallman and ASJ joining an LFO organization for the season. So we'll see how that plays out for the team. But honestly, it's going to be really interesting. We're going to see a lot of new faces this season. And honestly, that's probably one of my favorite things about GPL is that it is growing very, very nicely. And now we're seeing new teams and drivers. Racing Force is looking to go ahead and jump on in. And a little bit of rumors and speculation that a pantheon of GPL past is looking to make a return, being the Acura team is looking to make a return as well. So as these drivers get these early laps in, we're seeing some pretty decent lap times there, but Illusion's still the class of the field at the moment. And it is a shame, Ghosted, that we won't be seeing you on track here. I know you didn't have the greatest of runs last week at Watkins Glen, but hopefully we'll see you for the season finale. And then also the GPL 250. So the GPL 250 is coming up here very, very shortly. It's going to be after Suzuka. I think it's a week or two after Suzuka. And Nuko just getting a bit wide there, coming through the exit of net. So I don't think this is going to be a time that could beat Illusions. We'll see. Using a good amount of the curve now. He's going to make the run all the way down this massive straight out of Panasonic corner. He's going to come to the line. it's going to be a time to beat Illusions, but not by much. So not by much at all, but still a pretty good time. And it's pretty crazy just the absolute gap that these two have to the rest of the field. But AJP coming in with a storming lap. Currently P3 right now, about half a second behind Nuko. Illusions has an improvement. So he is now 3/10 ahead of his championship rival. Now, I'd have to look at the scoring game, but I don't think Illusion is... Oh! A bit of a snap there coming out of turn 1. But I don't know if he's actually mathematically able to compete for this title. I see. And yeah, I understand work sometimes kind of takes precedent in some things, but that is just kind of how it goes. Hopefully you don't have work, so you can join us here, but once again, the real life takes priority. And speaking of things in the real world, it's pretty early for me to do this, but this is going to be your hydration notification, one of potentially several in this race. I know our sponsor WGG makes some really good tasting drinks, and there's water in it because you mix it with water. But also be sure to get regular water sometimes, because water is good. It's nature's hydration beverage. So go ahead and get some water in your system. Your body will thank you. You'll feel great. And if you're a commentator like me, it helps you not to lose your voice. So if you just need any kind of hydration, just go ahead and get some water. Also check out our sponsor, W.GG. Use promo code GPL for a 10% discount, and that way you can also support the league more than you guys already do. And I mean, you guys already do so much that support the league. I mean, we had 100 subscribers this year. Like, that is incredible. And I'm so glad that we have hit that milestone here in 2025. Let's hope for 2026 we hit 200. So we'll just see how that goes. Now, if we do hit 200 before the end of this year, which is going to be a massive goal, but if it is, then B23 has to do a slidey. A shoey with a slide. So, take that one as you will. You know what? That's also fair. That's also fair, Ghosted. That is also very, very fair. Work does take priority. As unfortunate as it is to work weekends, but the extra bit of money is nice. Especially if you happen to have a hardware failure of any kind, and you can't exactly fix your pedals or your wheel or get a replacement controller without money. So honestly, I understand that completely. But we're going to go ahead and continue on in this qualifying session. Illusion is going to go ahead and take purple sectors now. He is improving, so he's looking to extend. He's going to try to get his first win of the season here, which is pretty rare for us to say, considering that Illusion is one of the quickest drivers here at GPL. So we'll see how it goes. ASJ jumping up into 5th. He'll set an improvement of a lap time there. And Illusion is going to come through. He's going to go ahead and turn on the afterburners and fly to the line. It is going to be, we'll see where he goes here. Is it going to be an improvement on his time? He will improve, not by a lot, but it is an improvement nevertheless. Now it's going to be Nuko who's going to have to answer. Nuko is going to have to go ahead and put in an answer here. So he's going to go on and turn on the jets, turn on the afterburners. And we'll see where his lap goes. So we'll see how it goes. Nuko going to go and make his way down into turn number 1. We'll see if he can get a lap together. It seems like he was kind of struggling a bit on this track earlier on. In quality, is still P2, but he's normally been pretty much right up at the front fighting constantly. So we'll see. He's not improving through that first sector, so not quite improving. There's only about less than 5 minutes to go in this quali session. So Nuko is going to have to make these laps count, because you don't really got a lot of time left to really make these count. So you'll have to come back into the pit to give it another go if he's not improving by the time he gets to sector 3. As he makes his way to the Dunlop curve, we'll see. He is improving, but not by enough. It's only 58 hundredths of an improvement there. He needs to improve by 0.2 of a second, so he needs to absolutely ace this final sector. And this is the sector he seems to be really struggling with as well. We saw earlier in qualifying in the opening lap, he spun out right on Panasonic corner, so we'll see. Is this where we start to see a bit of a crack in Nuko's armor? Although granted, I think as long as he finishes the race, oh, very wide there on the exit of Panasonic, so that's not going to be an improvement, I don't think. Definitely not going to be enough to jump past Illusion. Coming across the line now. Oh, never mind. I'm just going to shut my mouth because I am wrong. Nuko jumping up by 2.5 of a second ahead of Illusion, so he had exactly what he needed. He had that monster final sector, and that is absolutely beautiful work there. We'll see if anyone's got an answer. We'll check in with Yuki, who is on the outlap now. So not a lot of time left in this qualifying session, so pretty much gonna be make or break for a lot of these drivers. Rogue is going to go ahead and begin his lap. He has been linked to the Exo Rapide squad in SWT. But once again, we'll see where he qualifies, and we'll see what the seat situation is like, because they're kind of like the Red Bull minus the absolute brutality of you have a few bad races and then you get sacked. Exo does like to stick with their drivers for quite some time, but they also have 4 seats that they need to fill. So, a few rumors here and there about what these lineups are going to look like. Rogue is expected to be potentially part of one of those lineups, as he's going to go ahead and make his way through the track. The number 7 car, as I mistook it for 77 earlier, but 77 is a sponsor, funny enough. I'll have to ask him at some point what that sponsor is, but the number 7 car making his way through the Dunlop curve, and now he's going to go through the chicane and go ahead and get through turn number 13 to get ready to take on Nets. We've seen a few drivers have a bit of an error here in Nets, and it looks like Rogue is going to be another driver having a bit of a moment through Nets. We'll see where he can go. He doesn't have a lap time on the board yet, going very wide at the exit of Nets, so I don't know if this is going to improve his time. I thought it was going to hurt Nuko's time when he went very wide through Panasonic, but that ended up working out pretty good in his favor. So we'll see where Rogue is going to go. He's going to set a time. It's going to be a 1:30. It's a 1:30, 1.1 seconds off a tall man, and I think it was that moment through Sector 3, through Nets, that kind of really put his time in a bit of a tough spot. So now we're going to go up 1 position and look at Tall Man, who's going to go ahead and start putting on pressure. A bit of a stop there coming through Nets. And he's going to make his way through the Panasonic corner. He has a good exit, a little bit of oversteer there on exit, but he does keep it in. Illusion sets an improvement, but it's not quite enough to take pole position away. He's going to come across the line. It is going to be an improvement of 1/10, still about half a second away from Kemajur, but it will be an improvement for Tall Man, and each improvement is pretty nice. It's good to get those improvements on the board. ASJ, we'll see if he's going to go ahead and improve. He's going to go ahead and make some runs here. He's going through 300R, making his way down into the Dunlop curve, coming up here very shortly. He is not improving on his lap. He's about 2/10 down. What about Kemajur? Is he improving any as we're in the final 30 seconds of qualifying? The Hololive Toyota going in and trying to make his way through. Will he see an improvement? He is 1.2 seconds away from ASJ. So we'll see if he can make the improvement coming across the line. Rogue makes an improvement. He jumps up into 6th. And that is a good time there for Rogue. Is Kemajur going to improve? No, he's a 10th off of his time. So we'll go ahead and focus on our championship protagonist. Illusion's going to come across the line. He's only a 10.5 down on Nuko's time. Is he going to get it this time? He's going to basically just about need a 124 to make it. No, it's not an improvement. He is down by a few tenths of a second. Is Nuko going to be able to improve? AJP is up in the 3rd now, so I think that's his qualifying done and dusted. So what about Nuko? Does the championship leader, is he going to extend that pole gap? He is not. He has a penalty. What about Yuki? Is Yuki going to jump AJP, one of his main rivals of the season here in recent times? He's going to fly across the line. Is it going to be an improvement? Not quite. ASJ, he's done with qualifying. Rogue still has another lap in him. Rogue is going to go in and try. He's going to give this another go. He had a bit of a rough time here a few laps ago, but now he's going to go ahead and use every bit of that soft tire, getting a bit wide on the exit of nets. And now he's going to come around to the Panasonic corner, and he's going to give it a go. Very, very wide on the exit there. But this did help Nuko get his time. We'll see if it helps Rogue. He's going to come across the line now. Is he going to improve? Across the line he goes. Not an improvement. It looks like Chemistry will be the last one to come across the line. It is an improvement that bumps him up to 6th on the track. And that is qualifying done and dusted. So once again, we're going to take a quick look at our quality gaps here. So Nuko takes pole position by just under a 10.5, followed by Lusion, May JP, Yuki, ASJ, Chemistry, Rogue, and your local tall man. So that is qualifying done and dusted. We're going to go ahead and sort some things out here on the back end. We're going to reset the time of day. And now we're going to go ahead and get ready to go here. So the grids are pretty much already set, so they're going to go ahead and allow drivers to make a few adjustments if they so desire, but pretty much for the most part we are just about ready to go here for 60 minutes around Fuji Speedway. And let's just go ahead and just remind everybody that this is the penultimate round of the season. The final round, which is 2 weeks from now in Suzuka, is going to be a one-make race. So everybody will be in the TSO 20, which is I think it's an older spec of Toyota. It's the same one that we used in the pre-season qualifying when we had those 4 qualifying days. So that's pretty much how that's going to go. It was a pretty snappy car from what I've seen. Very unforgiving, very tough to drive. We were seeing Nuko, Chemistry, Lusion. We were seeing all these drivers going ahead and struggling a bit in that car that everybody will be racing in next week. And then I believe it's the following week or the following week of that following week. So I think it's 2 weeks after the season finale in Suzuka. We will have our GPL 250 at Monza, a 250-mile long race in the F3500 at Monza. And then it was going to be the pre-season qualifying for the Super Formula Season 7, but that has been delayed a little bit due to the Spec 3 update coming out in December. And then there's some rumors of another community series potentially coming in. I've heard a few different things, so we'll just have to see. One of the rumors that was suggested was actually a 30-minute kart enduro race, which I think will be a lot of fun. We'll just have to see how it goes. But the drivers are all in. We're gonna have to go ahead and reset the qualifying order, and then we'll be ready to go here. I think really the only one, yeah, I was about to say, I think May JP was really the only one that had to be kind of moved around a bit, but soon we are going to go ahead and get ready. I'm sure the little micro race briefing is going to come out here very, very soon. So it's going to be pretty much just, it's pretty much just the basics of, I have the red flag, if there's a lot of damage in turn 1, lap 1, then the red flag will be called. It will kind of reset the lobby, and then we'll give it another go. We'll start from the beginning, and then, yeah, that's pretty much going to be the gist of things. So we're about to go racing for 60 minutes here in Fuji. It's going to be a fun time. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you guys are too. Go ahead and drop a like, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you haven't already. And then we're going to go ahead and get to the track. Just in time indeed. So penultimate round here. Round number 6 out of 7. This is the last round with the car allocation before we go to the one-make grand finale of the season. We'll be going just across the country here from Fuji to Suzuka from the personal test track of Toyota to the personal test track of Honda. So here we go. We're about to go to get racing here for the final time with the allocation in this penultimate time this season. We're going to go ahead and get to the track and get ready to rumble. We're here in Fuji. We're going to get ready to go. It's going to be a rolling start to the line. And then we're going to get racing here. We'll just see how it goes. Nuko will lead the field to green. Another pole position. You hear the engines roaring. The cars are coming to the line now. I mean, Nuko pretty much is going to clinch the championship here as long as he finishes, especially if he wins. And we're racing here in a Fuji Speedway. Nuko getting the exact launch he needs. Going to go ahead and chop across Lujan, trying to go to keep that position. He's going to go ahead and hold on to it for now. Lujan also got a pretty good launch. Now AJP under a bit of pressure here from Yuki. The recent signee of High Caliber Racing is going to go ahead and try to get these moves. But he's just going to lose a good amount of time. Lujan already about a second ahead of AJP in this battle. I mean, these two have battled. I think I've seen these two battle in more different car types than I could count. Lujan going a bit wide there, going through turn 13, going through the hairpin. Now they're going through 300R, making their way to Dunlop corner. Thinking about maybe trying to get a bit of a shake for a move here. They're going to go in and try a bit of a snap there from Nuko. Lujan trying to get around the outside, and he's going to get around the outside of Nets, but is it going to stick? As they make their way through Nets side by side, Lujan will take the lead of the race, putting the car on the inside, blocking off his championship rival of Lujan. Lujan did struggle a bit through a good chunk of qualifying in that third sector, but look at this. Nuko trying to go up the inside. Not going to happen for the driver in the Porsche. Not going to happen for the number 24. As he continues to make his way, he's going to try to close the gap to Lujan here. These two have fought in so many different races. They fought in the Super Formula season. They fought in the SF500. And now they're duking out in LMPs yet again. As these drivers are continuing to fight it out. Drivers are going to go ahead and continue to do battle here, and we have a little bit of action here at the back. It is local tall man trying to go ahead and put pressure on the Keminger. We'll see if he can go ahead and get that rolling here as ASJ is trying to close into the back of Yuki here, but we're going to jump back to this battle here really quickly as Lujan seems to be pretty dialed in on this track. I mean, they're both in the Porsche, so it's not exactly car supremacy here, but Lujan might just be a bit better off on this track than the man who has dominated pretty much a majority of the season here. We will just have to go ahead and kind of see how this race plays out. Lujan does have a pretty good advantage now. AJP not too far off, but he's going to be more focused about Yuki just directly behind. And ASJ right there kind of in a mix of things as well. He's going to go ahead and try to put that number 56 closer to Yuki. He's in the Audi. They're both in the Audi, so it's going to be an Audi on Audi, I think on Audi battle. So 3 Audis here from P5 to P3. I think another Audi just, oh no, that's a Porsche just behind. So some pretty intense battles potentially going to spawn in here. As we ride on top with ASJ, he's going to go ahead and make his way into turn 1. A bit tight there in turn 1. Yuki does get a bit of a better exit now. And now Yuki is going to be going and trying to put pressure on the AJP. Jumping from the top of one car to the other. He's going to go in and try to put pressure on the AJP, who has had a very strong start to his weekend here. And ASJ's got a half a second time penalty in the Audi just behind. So it's been a bit of a tough go of things for him so far, but it's still early on in the race, and actually we've seen ASJ having a really good run of things in Watkins Glen 2 weeks ago. So we'll see if he can put on a similar level of performance, but getting that half second penalty won't exactly do you too many favors, but AJP is gonna have at least one less contender pretty much right on his rear wing. But Yuki is not too far behind himself. So, interesting race we're having here. Illusion is doing a pretty good job of pulling away. Granted, as Chad has pointed out, he is on the soft tire, so the soft tire is generally going to be quick around this track. But I think even then, I think it was Nuka was kind of struggling in Sector 3 earlier, where Illusion seemed to have a bit of a better run at it. So I think it's a bit of both. We'll see how those soft tires really hold on. You're probably not going to see anybody running the hard tire compound. It's probably just going to be mediums and softs. There are no requirements on tires aside from the fact that you just need 4 of them and they just need to be racing tires. Other than that, it is fair game. You can run intermediates and wets if you'd want, although I don't see why you would on this type of tarmac. It is pretty dry out here, although Fuji is one of the tracks that could get rain. The clouds were looking a bit ominous earlier, but it is expected to stay dry throughout the entirety of the race. So I don't think we're going to see any weather changes, as Yuki is still trying to put pressure onto May JP to get that final step on the podium. The two Audis now duking it out, now doing battle. And once again, Yuki is going to go ahead and continue on in that Undertale themed Audi. Few drivers are going a bit wide on the exit net. So that's kind of an interesting trend I've seen just here tonight. You know, a few drivers have been just kind of going through nets and having a bit of a wide over there. Yuki now pretty much closing in to the back of May JP ever so slightly. But I wonder, well, these two are on the same tires, and May JP has been getting really quick here across the season. There is a reason why High Caliber has picked him up. He might be one of the most kind of highlighted rookies that we're going to have coming into Super Formula. I mean, there's been a lot of hype surrounding May JP, and we can even see here in the YouTube chat, just a lot of people supporting May JP. He does have arguably one of the biggest driver fan bases, and that is pretty impressive considering that he is a rookie driver from the UK. But he's got a lot of hype surrounding him. He will probably be kind of our version of Kimi Antonelli. Although we'll see if he doesn't send the Ferrari to the Shadow Realm on some specific corners. But once again, we'll just have to see how the race plays out. Yuki though is pretty much right on the back of the Audi just up ahead. It'll be XL versus High Caliber Racing. Now granted, there are no teams in this particular championship, but these drivers are still representing the team that they'll be racing with in the Super Formula Series. Now, while there is a lot of talk about the XO seats, I can almost guarantee, granted I haven't heard anything official, so I'll take this with a grain of salt, but I can just about practically guarantee that it will be Yuki and Illusion repping the Exodus Motorsports team yet again, trying to get another Constructors Championship for the team. But look at this dive from Yuki, he's going to send it into turn 1 and 2. He's going to get it done, and what a move that was. He gets it done, does it, and delivered. That was a good pass there from the Exodus Motorsports driver. What a move there from Yuki. We're going to go ahead and get a replay of that, of just that beautiful move. So he's got a massive run coming down into turn number 1. He's closing, and then late on the brakes, gets the move, and he's just gonna hug that inside, hug it as best as he can, blocking AJP from the apex, and that's the move. So that was a very, very strong pass there from Yuki to one he definitely needed. And now we'll want to try to go put some pressure onto Nuko, but I mean, considering that Nuko has won 4 out of 5 races here this season, it's going to be a bit of a tough one to try to catch up to the man who pretty much has one hand on the championship already, and he might have actually already mathematically clinched this championship. This race will just also put another kind of nail in the coffin. And I think, honestly, Nuko would just have to not show up. He would have to DNF this race and then not show up next week. And I'd have to look at the scoring system again, but I think Nuko would still win the championship at this point either way. So, once again, we'll just have to kind of keep an eye on things, see how everything is rolling. And now, I mean, Yuki is starting to pull a good gap away from AJP, but another driver is kind of closing in is ASJ, the British driver who is actually just recently started university. So, massive props to ASJ for jumping into the college life. We hope everything works the best for you. And he is going to go ahead and try to go ahead and put that Audi closer and closer to the back of AJP. AJP, I think at some parts of the track, AJP is a bit quicker. We kind of wish we had one of those track domination graphs that we see in other motorsports, because I think AJP is a bit quicker through Sector 3, but I think in other sectors, ASJ is a bit quicker. But these two are good mates. Once they get closer together on the track, if that does turn out to be the case, then they'll be clean, but they'll definitely give no quarter. They'll give it a good go. They'll fight it out. So we'll just see how these drivers navigate through the circuit and try to get these moves. So actually maybe a bit of the opposite. AJP might have actually picked up on the battery saving technique that has propelled Nuko to such good heights. He is burning up the battery here. Those softs, man, are doing wonders for Illusion right now. The last lap was a 1:26.9 for the Norwegian driver, and it was a 1:27.2 for Nuko. So, not a massive gap in between them, I would say, but once again, those soft tires they're definitely working. Tenths build up over the span of a few laps, so as you can see, there's now a 4-second gap between the top two in the championship. As we're going to go ahead and see these drivers continue to give it all they got here, as MayJP is still trying to close in. He is pulled away by a few tenths from ASJ. And we'll jump a bit back through the field as there's another potential little scuffle coming up here soon, as Keminger is trying to go ahead and close it in onto Rogue. The Hololive driver likely remaining with his team. I mean, it would be pretty unfortunate if he wasn't racing with his own team coming next season, but we will likely expect him to be a factor in the next season, as it looks like Tallman does have a half-second time penalty that he will have to serve. So, unfortunate for him, as MayJP having a bit of a snap coming out of turn 1. Yuki getting a bit into the grass there on the exit of turn 2 as they now enter the Coca-Cola corner and now going through 100R. And the race is still going on, still live. We are almost a quarter of the way into the race. So here's what we're actually going to go ahead and do real quick. We're going to go ahead and hop on board for a bit of an on-board lap. Let's go ahead and who are we going to do with? Let's do it with Keminger as he chases down Rogue. We're going to take a step aside and we'll be right back. Back after just a very quick intermission. He did get the move done on the road during the intermission, and now he's up in the 6th. So now he's got a pretty big gap to ASJ just up the road ahead, as now these drivers are going to go ahead and these drivers are going to continue on. It's kind of a managed race at this point now. Drivers do have some pretty solid gaps now. There isn't really a super close battle. The closest one I think is Rogue and Chemazure, but this battle may spark to life here pretty soon as we're just about approaching the quarter race mark. So Rogue is going to go ahead and still try to put pressure on the Chemazure. There's only about a second in between them. But these two battle out. Your local tall man is going to get involved in this. And we'll see. We'll see just how this goes. Because, I mean, once again, still a pretty big race. There's still going to be pit stops coming in as well. This will be a case of driver management. Just managing the tires. And pretty much that's going to be interesting to see. It'd be really interesting to see if we get rain here at any point, which I don't think we will, to be honest. The weather report didn't show anything of rain. We may get a few scattered clouds here and there, but for the most part, it's just gonna be just dry. So I want to actually get a bit of a replay because I think we did kind of miss a Rogue incident. No, it would have been during that. So. But yeah, it's easy to make mistakes on this track, especially in Sector 3. Sector 3 is one of the toughest corners on the circuit, so I'm not terribly surprised to see a bit of a mistake there from Rogue. I mean, we've seen a few drivers, even the championship leader Nuko, who is now rapidly gaining in on Lucian here. Last time we checked on these two, there was a 4-second gap, and now there's a 2-second gap. So the soft tires are really starting to have their fall off here. Now we'll just have to see. Now here's the thing is that the medium tires are going to be much better at this stage, compared to the softs anyway. They're going to be in a much better state. So Nuko closing in that gap. We'll see if Lucian does decide to pit. He'll probably pit in sooner rather than later, and maybe try to go on a bit of a more aggressive strategy, which is very much possible. We can see these aggressive strategies work, but we haven't really seen them work much this season. It's mostly just been the more managed pace working out. I mean, these drivers they put a lot of miles in these cars, so they know what these cars are capable of. I mean, you got Nuko with 4,000 miles on this Porsche. Lucian with about 600 miles. It'll be over 600 by the time we're done with this race. But yeah, I mean, these drivers are really familiar with how these cars work. Yuki's having 1,000 miles on his Audi. So we know that these drivers, they know what these cars are capable of, but sometimes you just kind of gotta risk it strategy-wise, and sometimes those risks really do pay off, and other times they really don't. So we're probably gonna see a battle for the lead here in a very, very, very short time, as Tallman is still catching up to Rogue here, as there's actually about the same gap between Tallman and Rogue as there is from Lucian to Nuko. But it's kind of an ebb and flow at this point with this gap, because there's some points where Lucian is going to be a bit quicker, but I think a little bit of that tire wear is starting to get to the Norwegian driver, the owner of EXO and GPL. So he's going to go ahead and try to stave off Nuko for a bit, try to outlast him here and try to battle him out, but I think those medium tires are definitely going to go the way of Nuko. So I think Nuko's probably going to aim for an all-medium strat. I don't think he's going to run the softs this time, because he wasn't really doing, I mean, he got pole position on the soft tires, but he was struggling a bit on some parts of the track on that soft to compounded tires. So now Nuko is going to go ahead and start closing that gap, and he's knocked off a few tenths this lap. So let's just take a look at the last lap between these two. So last lap, actually we'll take a look at these laps to kind of get another good comparison. As they make their way to the line, it's a pretty good toe there from Nuko. He's going to come across the line. A 127.2 compared to Nuko's 127.9, so he lost about 7/10 of a second there on that last lap. So Nuko's really closing in. Those medium tires are really the factor here So we'll just have to see when Lucian is going to call it into the pits. Because those soft tires aren't going to hold on forever. I mean, just look at the massive tire wear difference between these two. I mean, that front left is definitely seen better days. It's definitely the most affected tire on the track. And the front left being the most damaged isn't really something new. I mean, if we look at any of these drivers, I mean, look at Nuko, who does have better tire wear, but the same thing, that front left is taking a good amount of damage here. As you see, a lot of these other drivers, you'll see that front left having substantially more damage. And funny enough, Lucian is the only driver to actually start on the soft tire compound, which is a really interesting statistic. Seeing him start on this hard or soft compound tire would be even more interesting if it wasn't a hard compound. But they're going to make their way down, and I think this is probably going to be the last lap we'll see Lucian on this set of tires. He's lost even more time now to 128.1, or just about a 128.0. Now, he didn't lose as much time this time to Nuko. He lost only about half a second there compared to 7/10 of a second. So he did save himself about 2/10, but now we're in the territory where the dirty air is going to start affecting these drivers. So the dirty air is going to affect the cornering ability of that Porsche of Nuko, the red and black Porsche. So we'll see, he's going to go ahead and continue to press on as Nuko is going to go in, and he's really closing that gap in, so we might see a shake for the move here sooner rather than later as these two are continuing to duke it out around the mountain here. Look how close they get. They are within, I mean, you could barely fit a soda can in between those cars as they continue on. They're going through the Nets corners now, Where Nuko will certainly have a bit of that advantage because he is on the fresher tire. So they're going to go ahead and make their way on through. And I mean, Nuko, this is pretty much a move just waiting to happen. They're going to be fighting. They're going to be shaking for position. And they're going to make the run. And Lucian's into the pits. He's going to go ahead and call on that set of soft tires. Those things were pretty much done. I think if it would have went one more lap, he would have had what is basically the essential of a blowout in this game. It's not truly a blowout, but it definitely feels like it. The grip from having like 1% to 0% tire wear is just insane in this game. So it is a massive drop off. It feels like somebody put a semi-truck on that tire. So in the case of Lucian, it would feel like somebody put an entire LMP1 on that front left side, just because of how much the car drags through corners with that quote-unquote blown-out tire. He does kind of come right in between May JP and ASJ. This is where he's going to come out of the pits at. He is on a set of mediums. A brand set of mediums, and Lucian has spun around. Lucian spinning around there on corner exit. Oh, and that's going to hurt his race. So let's see what happens here to Lucian. He's going to go ahead and give it a go. Gets a little bit on the grass, a little bit on the curb. The curbing does unsettle the car. Now he's going through 100R. Oh, that's kind of a weird one. It looked like he just kind of lost it going out of 100R. That is a weird one for Lucian. It is light damage here this series, so it will go ahead and get cleared up, the damage, but ooh, that's gonna hurt. Ooh, tough day. The opposite is another moment there for Lucian. So the medium tires are just not firing up here in Fuji. Just not firing up like he wants them to. The tires are, like, I mean, he's struggling on the set of mediums. He doesn't really have any battery left either, so he's got to really try to work to recharge the battery. And man, what a tough time of it. I mean, this is going to be a breath of fresh air for Nuko, because he will have seen that Illusion drop behind ASJ. He'll definitely see that. So he will know that something must happen to Illusion. And yeah, that's kind of just detrimental to his race. Taking a look now, Tallman has actually jumped up a few positions. He's now in the 6th. He's got ahead of Rogue and Kempinger, and it wasn't a pit stop because they all have about the same amount of tire wear. So the only driver that I know for a fact that has made his pit stop is Illusion, down in 5th place at the moment. So we'll see if ASJ can close the gap to MayJP. I thought MayJP had a penalty there, but nope, he'll stick it still. And they're going to go and make their way through Panasonic Corner. But yeah, I mean, this is a very tough track. I mean, I will still say I prefer to Suzuka, and I know a few other people that do. But that doesn't mean that this track is easy by any stretch of the imagination. I mean, championship winners like Illusion, like Nuko have had rough moments around this track. And next week is going to be another tricky one because it is Suzuka, a very technical track. You got the S's, you got the Degnas, you got 130R, you got so many tricky corners in Suzuka, and you're in a car that's honestly probably less stable than the cars that they're driving here. Because if you remember from preseason qualifying, the Toyota that was used there is the same Toyota that will be used in the season finale. That car was biting everybody in the rear. A lot of cars were having massive spins, massive crashes. And granted, it was a different track. They were doing their pre-qualifying at Road Atlanta. But yeah, it's just been, it's a tricky car on a tricky track. So if some of these drivers are having a tough time here, then it might be kind of a sign of things to come in Suzuka 2 weeks from now. But yeah, at this stage, I mean, it was pretty much almost already a guarantee, but Nuko is going to be champion, pretty much all but confirmed at this point if the race finishes as it is. But there's still a few drivers who still need to pit, as we're going to watch Illusion on those fresh tires going to try to put a charge against ASJ. He's going to have a good run, and he's going to have fresher tires. So we're going to see what the British driver can do. And it's not going to be enough real estate for Illusion to make a move, but we saw Yuki make a similar dive earlier on, but Illusion's going to think better of it. You also got to think about how much confidence that might have shaken for this driver. Because, I mean, having a massive accident like that on brand new tires might shake your confidence up a bit, but it is a purple sector there for Illusion, so maybe not. Maybe he realizes that, well, that was a bit of a mistake, and now he's going to just try to give it another go. He is going to suffer a little bit of the dirty air as they come through the hairpin. Now making their way to 300R. And they're going to go ahead and go through and just make the run down into the Dunlop curves. ASJ going to try to defend here. He's going to try to defend from Illusion a bit, but he is on the older medium tire. And Illusion has been pretty quick here on the day, but ASJ closing the door, not letting him get around. And this is going to chew into the gap. Illusion on the first start, going to try to go on the inside, but ASJ is going to try to stick it, having to go a bit wide, having a bit of a snap there. Coming through nets. And Illusion is going to ultimately get through. He was on the fresher tire, so it was probably only going to be a matter of time, but kudos to ASJ for putting on a pretty good defense there. Even if that's not really the driver he's going to be mainly racing with. But look at this. He's still hugging the slipstream. He's still going to give it a go. ASJ, he's going to try it. He's going to try to move. He's going to try to stick it around the outside, but he doesn't have the tires for it, I don't think. He's going to try to go around the outside, but it was a good attempt there from ASJ. Just ultimately didn't result in much. We will see. ASJ is still going to go and try, but this is the part now where Illusion's really going to start trying to use the advantage of those tires to really start pulling away. So we are still seeing some pretty solid racing here as the older tires of ASJ are starting to kick in, as Illusion on those fresh mediums is now ahead, but he's not really in the position he wanted to be in. I mean, he really wanted to be trying to get past his teammate of Yuki just up at the front, but considering his crash earlier on the outlap, it's not going to make things easy for him as we're just about halfway through the race. And now Nuko could, I mean, this is definitely going to be a one stop for Nuko. He'll pit in probably, I'm probably going to say it's probably going to be around the 20-minute mark. He's going to go in and try to pit in, and maybe he'll actually dip to the softs. We'll see. He's got a massive gap to Yuki, as Yuki and, well, Keminger are now getting the blue flags, but Yuki's got a pretty good gap on the JP, who himself has a pretty good gap on Lucian, but these two, actually the top three, still need to pit. But actually Nuko's tires are a bit worse off than JP's and Yuki's, so these two might be able to go a bit longer, and we might just see a really interesting battle for the podium. Just because of the fact that these drivers are still going to go ahead and give it their all. No quarter going to be given between these drivers. They're still going to go ahead and duke it out if they get close enough to. Still some pretty big gaps here. Now we have traffic going ahead and being called in, as Nuko now approaches the back of Tallman and Rogue. So Tallman now is going to go ahead and try. He's going to try to close the gap. He's got about, oh, and Nuko's actually in the pits now, so the blue flag will be for nothing. Keminger also going to come into the pits, trying to go ahead and put an undercut on the Tallman and Rogue. Tallman's thinking about trying to stick it around the outside on the Rogue. Is it going to be the switchback? Oh, big contact between the two. That's going to damage Rogue. And that's going to put Tallman in a pretty good spot now. He's going to make the move into the Coca-Cola corner. He goes wide on Coca-Cola corner though. As Tallman has a bit of a moment there. He went a bit wide. He tried to go wide around turn one. Ultimately, that little bit of contact. But Rogue's contact is still bugging him a little bit, but it will get cleared up here very soon. And there it is. The 2 points of damage have been cleared up. Let's take a look at that again though. So this is the run going down into turn number one. Actually, you get it from Tallman's perspective here. He goes deep into turn one. Tries to switch back, but Rogue's having a bit of a snap there. And yeah, that's kind of how the incident played out. Oh, Tallman having another moment there on the exit of nets. So we'll see how that's going to play into things. As Lucian is now within a second, but he's got a penalty. So Lucian's race just keeps going from bad to worse. JP will let him on through, but he does have the half-second penalty that he will serve. And I forget what the penalty line is on this track. I think, yeah, it's pretty much right on the start-finish straight just after Panasonic. So that's going to be a tricky one. As Nuko is on fresh tires. He is now still about, let's see, he's about 9 seconds ahead of Lucian, who pitted a bit earlier. So, I mean, that is pretty much probably going to be the race decided. JP going to go for a move up the inside. He's going to try to make the move stick. He did have a good amount of a speed boost because of that penalty. But Lucian's still going to try to fight it up the inside. He's on the fresher tires, but JP holds him off. Lucian having a bit of a moment there again. So this started off as a good race for Lucian, but it just turned out to kind of just, it's like if you start falling down the stairs, once that downward momentum happens, it's pretty hard to stop it. We'll see if he's going to go to get a move done on the JP, but here's the thing though, Lucian is on the fresher tires, so he would have wanted to have this move done. He goes wide, going through 300R, a bit into the grass. And he's going to cut back, and oh, he got reset! Lucian hit with a track reset, and that's his race done! Lucian is out! And Keminger has a spin, but Lucian is out of the race. That was a bit of drama that we were just not expecting here in today's race. It'll be a pit stop for Rogue now, so this actually puts Yuki on track to get a podium, potentially, but Yuki still needs to pit. ASJ still needs to pit. MayJP coming into the pits now, so we'll see if this undercut is going to work for him. It's going to be overcut versus undercut here in this race. And as we see in the YouTube chat, and yeah, honestly, Whiteout, you're correct. It just went from bad to worse. I mean, honestly, that is kind of the falling down the stairs metaphor. It's just you take one step wrong and then you're just kind of on a downward spiral. You can't stop it, but it's pretty tricky once that momentum is carrying you down those stairs. Definitely not speaking from personal experience about a week ago. We don't talk about it, but we will talk about the racing here, as once again the gaps are pretty far spread out now, but I think right now the biggest thing is that it is going to be a bit of a pit stop battle now. Because really, I think the final spot on this podium is going to be between ASJ and MayJP. So, I mean, these two, I mean, ASJ had a really good race last time out of Watkins Glen. Started in 9th, made it up to 5th, or made it up to 4th, actually. He did credit it to a few drivers having moments ahead of him, but now with Illusion out of the picture, there is a chance for ASJ to jump into a podium, and MayJP could get a podium here too. I'll have to check the stats, but I think this would be the first podium for either driver. And yes, I do agree. That was pretty much a straight up polyphony abduction there. Yuki's gonna come into the pits now. The Exodus Motorsports driver gonna go ahead and shed those mediums for probably another set of mediums, I'd imagine. Gonna get a good amount of fuel as well. So we'll just have to see how it goes. He's going to come out ahead of MayJP. Not by a lot. Actually, MayJP might jump him here. Coming into the corner. Actually, no. Actually, it was ASJ. Or no, sorry, that's not ASJ. That is Kemijiro, the driver. He just barely missed. I'm going to do some stat checking real quick as this battle continues to go on. But I want to see something real quick. So looking through the series, so yeah, this would actually be the first podium for either ASJ or MayJP. And MayJP is already such a highly rated prospect. And ASJ really coming onto the scene last week in Watkins Glen, there's been already some interest in him for a Super Formula seat. MayJP already confirmed for Super Formula. But, whew. I mean, I'm still at a loss from that Illusion incident earlier. Uncharacteristic from the Norwegian driver. I mean, he's normally one of the most consistent forces in GPL. He won the Super Formula 500 earlier this year. So he is the second winner of that, but, I mean, yeah, it's just not been his day here, as ASJ is going to go ahead and get past who is rumored to be his teammate in Super Formula coming up. Although, granted, Tallman has made a pit stop. ASJ has not. ASJ going really long on this set of tires. ASJ might be planning on going onto the softs, actually, in this next stint. As we see Rogue getting out of the way and allowing ASJ to come on through. Now Tallman and Rogue are going to potentially do a battle here pretty soon, as these guys are going to go ahead and give it all they got. Now, oh, look at this, a bit of a check up there is going to make Rogue have to do a little bit of rallying here. Rogue is on the first set of medium, so he's in a good spot. Tallman's on the quicker soft tires, which could get him to the end of the race, because we saw Illusion get almost to the halfway point on the side of soft tires, so there is virtue in those soft tires, so we'll just have to see. So, actually, I think at this point, ASJ could maybe get ahead of MayJP, potentially, depending on how those pit stop works. He's definitely going to lose the spot to Yuki, that's 100% guaranteed. But ASJ's still going to go on, he's still going to go ahead and try to push. And here's the thing, if he spends less time in the pits, then this might actually help him get ahead of MayJP. But he's also going to lose time. Let's actually look at the time comparison here. As ASJ's last time was pretty much a 1:29, just about. And it's actually almost about a 1 second difference between the two, so But look at this, Kemmerer. Kemmerer had the pace, he had the run, he could have passed, but he is a blue flags car, so he will not make the attempt. So good sportsmanship there from Kemmerer, just to allow MJP to give a run at it. Oh, we have another retirement. Rogue is out of the race as well. So that's 2 Exodus Motorsports affiliated drivers out of the race with 20 to go. And we are down to 6. So, I mean, honestly, this battle for the podium is pretty much wide open here. Because here's the thing, the pit stop, I think MJP might get out, or he might be ahead and coming to pit stop depending on if ASJ jumps into the pits now. I think he probably could, but no, he's going to stay out for another lap maybe? No, he's coming into the pits. He's coming into the pits now. He's going to get close to the line, but we'll see. My bet is he's going to go on the soft tires to go and try to finish this out. So ASJ coming into the pits now. MJP will be the driver to watch. MJP will get ahead of ASJ, but we'll see by how much. Oh, he's getting a ton of fuel, so he is spending a good amount of time. He's on the soft tires though, so he could make up that time, but he did lose a handful of time there, about 6 seconds in between. But MJP is on older tires. But we'll have to see. There is 19 minutes on the clock. It's going to be tricky because we know both drivers are quick, and both drivers do have a lot of eyes on them at the moment. Both drivers on track to scoring their first podium here in Grand Prestige League. MJP having a bit of a wide moment there, which might open the door for ASJ to go ahead and try to close the gap. MJP does have a bit more fuel on hand though. So he's got a little bit more fuel to burn, but he's also on the slower tires. So, once again, this is going to be a really, really interesting end to the race here. Because I think it's really just going to come down to whose pit strategy is going to play out. Because, I mean, P1 and P2 are pretty much locked in unless we have another shock retirement or mistake from one of these two. So P1 and P2 are definitely just about locked in. But P3 is still kind of wide open in my opinion, because ASJ is on the quicker tire. So, and we saw the gap that Lucian was able to put on to Nuko at the start of the race on the set of the soft tires. So we know soft tires are quick here, and we'll go ahead and get a real good estimation on how much quicker the soft tires are at this stage of the race with 17 to go, or 17 minutes to go. Yeah, so interesting stuff here. So might have been a bit of connectivity on the side, or that would have. I don't think it's on anyone's side in particular, but a bit of the connectivity might have also played into the hands of Lucian's race, kind of going downhill. But yeah, I will say that there are some track teleportation things specific on Fuji that are really obnoxious. So I understand the frustration entirely. Sometimes just doing some casual races around this track and you get hit with a diabolical reset is just really annoying. And it can just happen at the worst of times here. So once again, very, very unfortunate. But I will say, I do agree that it just really hasn't been Lucian's series here, as he kind of admitted himself in the YouTube chat. But it is a bit of a different beast, these cars, compared to Super Formula. But once again, we have one more round. It will be a one-make series. So it'll be a one-make series for next round 2 weeks from now. And then it'll be the GPL 250. And then who knows what will be next. I heard it might be a go-kart endurance race. It might be a rally series. It could be a GT3 series. I've heard a few different things kind of thrown around. Could it be a BOP Group C series? I mean, lots of potential here for kind of to fill in that gap in between this series and the Super Formula series, which did get delayed due to the Spec 3 update that was announced a little while ago, and actually coming through now. So ASJ was a bit quicker, not by much though. It is a 128.0 to a 128.1, so about a tenth of a second gain on lap number 29. We'll see about lap 30 as there's 15 and a half minutes to go. AJP is trying to look for his first podium of the season, but so is ASJ. This is ASJ's second race here in GPL, and he's already been pretty impressive. AJP also been very impressive here this season. Already signed pretty much, but look at that, a personal best there from AJP. But it's a personal best too from ASJ. So actually there was quite a few tenths of a difference there. So about just under 7 tenths of a second difference between AJP and ASJ. So the soft tires are working here. The soft tires are gonna do the justice, but he needs to make up more time though. On to AJP. That's pretty much where this battle is really gonna take shape here. I mean, there's a pretty massive gap to everybody else, so ASJ now really trying to go ahead and throw on the pressure onto AJP. I think this is probably going to come down to the last few laps. AJP though improving on his personal best. ASJ not quite improving, but it's not a massive loss either. So we'll see. I think overall ASJ is still quicker on the lap. Grand Prestige League's newest Fighting Falcon is going to go ahead and try to fight his way to a podium here. The gap is closing a bit, specifically through Sector 3, where those soft tires are going to be good. AJP having a bit of a snap, running a bit wide, and touching a little bit of grass. Touching grass is a good thing, just not with slick tires. We'll see what the lap delta is going to be like after this. It's about 5 seconds between these cars now. It is an improvement of lap time for both drivers. So a 126.8 versus a 122 or 127.2. So roughly around the same ballpark of a gap between these drivers, or just of the gain. So if he keeps gaining about 7 tenths a lap, this could really work out, and we could see a really beautiful scrap here towards the end of the race. But look at this, a purple sector from ASJ. The Fighting Falcon turning on the afterburners, and he's really trying to get a move on to AJP. AJP having a bit of a moment. AJP snapping a bit there through the through 300R. He is down a tenth of a second, almost 2 tenths of a second there on that last lap. ASJ, where is he improving? Is ASJ improving on his lap time? We'll have to see. He is closing the gap. I think he made up just about a second on this lap. So if he keeps doing that, then he's in a really good shot of a podium here, as ASJ is going to continue to close it in. We'll see how it's going to go ahead and go. ASJ now. We'll see what the time delta is. A 127.8 versus a 126.6. So about 1.2 seconds quicker on that last lap. The medium tires are starting to kind of give way to the softs now. But here's the thing. Can ASJ hold those softs on? Because we know as he gets closer to the end of the race, those soft tires will start to have a bit of a fall off here. That is kind of the trade-off that you get. The mediums are gradually going to get slower, but the mediums start fast and then get slow. We have a spin there that is not AJP. That is Chemistry, maybe Tallman? Let's go and take a look at that. We'll see who had the spin there. It might have been Tallman, actually. Yep, Tallman had a bit of a snap coming out of 100R. But he's still got a pretty good gap too. Chemistry, the driver who qualified 8th, is now up in the 5th, so a pretty good run for him, although there were 2 retirements that did promote him some spots, but still a good drive nevertheless. As ASJ now trying to close it in. losing a bit of time now. The gap is back up to 4 seconds here, so maybe the fall off is happening. The fall off might just be happening here. We'll see. It's a 127.5 versus a 127.4. So yeah, he did lose about a tenth of a second there. So ASJ having a bit of a moment somewhere on the track. And this battle will still rage on. MJP is improving though, so those medium tires still have life yet. So I think we might have actually hit that point where the soft tires are just starting to hit their fall off point. Although tire wear wise, they look just about the same. But we'll see if ASJ can go ahead and bring it in. If he can reel MJP in. Either way, this will be a really impressive result for whoever gets podium. It is going to be a fantastic drive from these drivers. MJP started in third though, so it's already an impressive qualifying on the rip. And now he's looking like he's potentially going to finish in that podium position. So MJP he's snapping a bit through nets, but then again, everybody's been kind of snapping through nets. As there is a bit of a southwest wind here, not as brutal as we've seen at other tracks, but it is 8.3 seconds. So, but honestly, one penalty can really shake up this race here. If either ASJ or MJP gets a penalty, and speak of the devil, there is a penalty there for ASJ, and that might be the podium chances slipping away here. Unless MJP gets one too, but I think if MJP can hold on without a penalty, I think he's got this podium pretty much in check, because you lose more than just half a second on that. But look at this, it's a purple sector there for ASJ, so ASJ making moves now, getting the gap just about under 3 seconds, but that half-second penalty is not going to do him any favors here. So MJP going a bit wide, that's very wide there. Almost bordering on a reset, because it was much more than that than Lujan had, where he got his reset earlier on. So that movement there from AJP might have been a little bit of a saving grace, but ASJ will have to serve that half-second pen coming up here as they continue on. AJP, the British driver for Excalibur Racing, going a bit wide. A bit of a snap too, so he's having a little bit of trouble in that car. He lost about 4 tenths on that snap. He'll probably gain more than a few of those tenths back when ASJ has to serve that penalty, that half-second slowdown. But here we go. Here's the penalty. It's going to allow ASJ to kind of go ahead and it's going to allow that gap to rebuild a bit, but now we're at the crossover point with almost 7.5 minutes to go. Checking back in with our race leader, who has pretty much been out in no man's land. Pretty much just cruising around. Once he got past Lujan and Lujan has disconnect, then that was pretty much all she wrote. Yuki kind of in the same predicament in terms of that P2. He's in a pretty good spot now, but we'll see how it goes here. But the gap is actually closed back up here a bit, so it didn't look like that penalty really affected ASJ that much at all. Just considering the pace differential right now. I think we are probably going to see the fall-offs of those soft tires before the end of the race, but it might just be enough where it won't really affect ASJ as much as it was affecting Lujan earlier on in that opening stint of the race. So this is going to be a battle as the sun is just over Mount Fuji here in Japan. These drivers are going to continue to give it a go. ASJ now closing in a bit, but now we're starting to see those soft tires start to hit their drop-off point. But can he keep it within the window? So we'll see about the lap times here. A 1:27.3 versus a 1:27.6. 3 tenths of a second there. But a 3 second gain or 3 tenths of a second gain from ASJ. But now MJP really needs to start flexing that tire life, because he's gonna have the better tire life at the end of this race. but we'll see how it's going to go in and play. Still a good amount of racing to go, but look at this. The gap is now under 1.2 seconds, or about 1.2 seconds. It's under a second and a half now, so those soft tires really coming to life here. Just as I thought they were going to start dropping off, the opposite happens. But we're going to have to see these drivers fuel save a bit. As May JP is now within a second of ASJ. He's got full battery though, but so does ASJ. They both got full battery. So the gap is about a second now as they make their way through nets. I think ASJ has been taking this part a little bit better, but he had a bit of a moment there. He lost about 0.3 of a second. But May JP having a bit of snap through nets as well, which will allow ASJ to semi-close in that gap just a little bit. But going a bit wide there onto the runoff. These drivers gotta be careful with these track limits, because ASJ got hit with a track limit earlier. May JP could suffer the same fate. As these two continue to battle out, it is a 1:28.0 versus a 1:27.4, so about 0.6 of a second gain. But now we're gonna see these tires start to fall off here really shortly, but still good racing to be had here. Once again, May JP, he's quick through that first sector. He makes up, I think, a good chunk of his time in that first sector, but it's through the rest of it where ASJ's soft tires really just come to life here. The front left is going to be the most burned out tire on both of these cars, because this track does put a lot of strain onto the front left. But now it is going to be, this is going to be an intense finish of the race here for these two for the final step of the podium. I think whoever comes out on top, I think both drivers really should get themselves a pat on the back, and that's a bit of movement there for ASJ, getting a bit of that tailwind. But it looks like it didn't really hurt him too much unless that penalty comes through. It did damage him a bit, but it looks like May JP had about the same level of a moment there. As now this gap is still 1.3 of a second. Now it is expanding a bit, so May JP is getting a bit of a better run of things here, but 1.2 seconds now, the gap 1.1. And now we're gonna see the gap is closing. He's got a good slipstream. It'll be too much real estate in between to make a move. Too much tarmac in between. The gap is under a second now once again, but if you're either one of these drivers, you just got to keep it within the white lines, keep it on the track, keep it away from anything that might risk a penalty, because honestly, one penalty is going to seal the deal for the podium in either one direction or the other. If May JP gets a podium, then ASJ is, if May JP gets a penalty, then ASJ is going to get that podium, and the vice versa is also true. And honestly, I think that penalty from earlier might have already kind of sealed the deal, as they're going to probably get about 2 racing laps left to go here. So it's really going to be make or break for these drivers as the sun begins to set here at Mount Fuji. And that's a moment for May JP. ASJ jumping into the podium spot now. And that might just be the podium decided. We'll get another look at that on replay. So May JP goes wide through 300R. And he's, oh, yep, there it is. He just runs way onto the grass. And then coming into Dunlop curve, this will be the end of the replay. Oh, he just goes deep. He just went a bit deep there. Now the gap is 2.2 seconds. So that might be the podium decided, but there's 2 minutes to go. It's going to be about another lap and another 2 laps to go. But I think this race is still on. At this stage, though, May JP is going to be on the fresher tire a bit, because the softs are starting to burn out now, but May JP is going to be, I think the tire pace is probably going to be relatively equal. But here's the thing, he's going to need ASJ to make a similar level mistake for May JP to get that podium back. These are 2 young British drivers who will honestly likely be GPL legends at some point in their careers. I mean, these guys are, I don't think either one of these are even adults yet. I know ASJ is right at 17, and I think May JP might be a year or 2 younger. I'll have to get the confirmation, but there is a bit of a gain on the side of May JP, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I think it needs to be more of a gap. I think it's going to have to come down to a penalty because ASJ's probably got this podium just about on lockdown. We'll have to see. Nuko is going to go ahead and come around. This will be probably his final lap, as he does still have the fastest race, or fastest lap of the race here so far. It'll be win 5 on the season, and with Nuko, or with Lucian's retirement, he is essentially champion of the series, but it'll be officialized in Suzuka. There's still, I mean, I don't think there's any universe really where he doesn't win this title. And with 20 seconds left to go on the clock, this will likely be the final lap of the race here, as Nuko is going to go ahead and just make his way through nets and through Panasonic for the final time. The timer is running down. He has pretty much been dominating this season, and the results show it. He's going to come across the line now with a 30-second gap. Nuko is going to go ahead and jump into victory lane once again. Nuko wins the 60 minutes of Fuji here in round number 6. Keminger will come home in P6, and then Yuki should be coming home in P5, but the battle for the final podium spot is pretty much over. Yuki is going to have a bit of a slowdown, but that's not going to affect his second place much. So he is going to have a bit of a slowdown here coming across the line. And the slowdown penalty will be applied here. And he is going to come across the line. It'll be P2 for Yuki. And then it's going to be a first podium on his second race in the Grand Prestige League for ASJ. But you cannot discount the battle that these two have had. This was a very fun battle to watch. ASJ rounds out the podium. MayJP coming fourth. That little mistake a few laps prior on lap 39 was what pretty much sealed the deal there for MayJP's potential first podium. It will go the way of ASJ. The Fighting Falcon fought his way into third, and that is where it's going to go to remain. Your local tall man will come home in P5, his best finish of the season so far. He'll be the last car to come across the line. And what a drive for everybody. So your winner is Nuko once again. Pole position, fastest lap, and race victory. So it is a grand slam there for the Frenchman. Here we go. We're going to take a look at the final results here. It is Nuko setting the fastest lap of the race, pole position, and the race win, followed by Yuki and ASJ on his second race in Grand Prestige League, getting a very nice podium, followed by MayJP, your local tall man, Keminger, and then Rogue and Lucian are two retirees. So that's going to be it here for the Grand Prestige League round number 6, the final round of the car allocation stretch of the season. But 2 weeks from now, we'll be heading to Suzuka for the season finale of the LMP Master Series here by Grand Prestige League. And then it'll be the GPL 250, and then maybe another mini community series. Once we have that information, we will present it to you guys. So once again, a massive shout out to our sponsor, W.GG. Go ahead and use promo code GPL at W.GG for a 10% discount. You'll be supporting the league in a fantastic way. And that's pretty much going to be it here. Once again, my name is Patrick Goldman, aka Rekus. I've been your host and commentator throughout today's race, and we'll see you guys 2 weeks from now in Suzuka. Have a good night.